Okay, now we're going back, instead of discussing each class individually, we're going to discuss all the arthropods. And we know from what we've listened to so far that they have a hard chitinous exoskeleton. And when they grow, they have to shed that exoskeleton or molt, ecdysis. And you can see here this crab as he's molting. Now, as far as locomotion, it's assisted by hydraulics. The muscles are, and that originates from the blood pressure created by the hearts. And spiders have a well-developed hydraulic system as well. The cuticle forms that hard, chitinous exoskeleton. They have a complete digestive system. They have a mouth and an anus, and it goes all the way through. You can see it's kind of a tube that goes through, and if you notice the crop there and the gizzard is what's going to grind their food since they don't have teeth. As far as respiration, if they're aquatic, they use gills. If they're terrestrial, they have different types of systems. Remember, in our insects, they had the spiracles, the little pores that are on the sides of their abdomen. Others use book lungs, which are just gills that are modified so that they can breathe air. And some of them even have areas on their legs where they have these oxygen absorbing membranes. And then there are some that use two different structures. They use gills for breathing underwater, and then they have a pseudo-lung that's adapted to take up oxygen from the air. Circulation is an open circulatory system. They do have a series of hearts that will pump the blood around, but they don't have hemoglobin. They have hemolymph, which has hemocyanin. So it's a copper-based oxygen carrying protein that carries their oxygen, and so their blood is blue. Their nervous system is like the annelids. They have a brain or a cerebral ganglion and a nerve ring that surrounds the pharynx that connects the brain with the pair of ventral nerve cords. And then there are ganglia that are down these nerve cords. Most of them have compound eyes and one to several simple eyes or ocelli. Some don't have eyes at all. They're totally absent or reduced. No endocrine or exocrine system. As far as excretory, some of them have what's called Malpighian tubules, and it's a type of excretory and osmoregulatory system that you see labeled there in the center of that insect, that grasshopper. It's in the mid-gut and the hindgut. No immune system. As far as reproduction, most of them are dioecious, two separate sexes, and they have paired reproductive organs, the ovaries and the testes. Fertilization is internal in most of them, but not all of them. Some of them lay eggs, and then they go through some type of metamorphosis, each class being a little bit different. As far as defense, the main defense they have is that exoskeleton. The only problem is when they molt and they shed that exoskeleton, ecdysis, they're very vulnerable, because when they crawl out of the old exoskeleton, the new one is not hardened yet, and so they are very vulnerable to attack. So they usually go off someplace that they consider to be quiet, and it'll take a few days for the new one to harden and be more defensive for them. But they will then turn and eat the old one for nutrition.